What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to this week's installment on The Lake Show. So, I'm finally feeling better, finally getting over this sickness. Welcome to Ohio, where every December and early January you get sick for no apparent reason. You can go through the entire year without blowing your nose, and then as soon as December hits, you're going through 6 boxes of tissues like it's nobody's business. So, we're finally back on track. Finally not feeling complete dog shit, but like I said, we're back, everyone. I'm finally feeling better. And different episode this week. We're not doing sports. We're actually going over... I narrowed down a couple things for everybody who is going through anything in their life. I narrowed it down to a couple key things for your success in 2024. Obviously, there's a plethora of information out there and a plethora of ideas on, how to pursue your life and how to conduct yourself in a productive way throughout your life and including this year, obviously. But, a couple things. Well, first off, I want to talk a little, just slightly about this, sports, but not too big of a deal. But how about that? End of an era. Nick Saban retiring, Pete Carroll out as head coach of Seattle, and Bill Belichick out of New England. I mean, my entire life, when it comes to watching NFL and when it comes to watching college football, those guys have, they've consumed all of college and NFL football like for the past 20 years. I mean, it's kind of surreal seeing them go, but it's an end of an era. It feels very weird, but a lot of sports information to talk about, and we'll talk about that next week on my next episode. I got a great episode planned for the NFL playoffs, but Cleveland, I told a bunch of friends who are Cleveland fans, I knew the Texans were a bad matchup for you guys, and 45-14 speaks for itself. CJ Stroud, my man, best Ohio State quarterback in NFL history already, and he showed out in his first ever playoff game. So good for the Texans. Obviously, Pittsburgh's probably going to lose to Buffalo on Monday. So it is what it is, but that's neither here nor there. Now, let's get into the real episode. So I identified a couple things that you should really prioritize in 2024. This is so you can, live a successful life and, propel yourself to where you want to be in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, decade. It doesn't matter. Like everything that I talk about today is just something that you should keep in mind for, for the rest of your life going forward. At least for me, some of these things I've started to implement daily in my life, and it's a bunch of things that I've learned over the past 5 years dealing with everything that I went through in my life. So anybody who is struggling with anything, obviously, it would be beneficial for all of you to implement, not necessarily, actually, that's my fault. All these I'm going to talk about today are very important to implement in your daily life. And there's going to be very little debate on, whether or not you should implement all this, because I feel like everybody on this planet, especially kids in Gen Z, we should all implement these things. So here are your keys to the success you want to have in 2024 and beyond 2024. So the first thing we're going to talk about is financial responsibility. I cannot tell you how many times I have talked on this channel about going out, drinking, smoking, blowing your money on useless and pointless things. I have probably a lot of experience in blowing money. That's for sure. Even to this day, I still buy things that are useless to me, that they'll sit on my shelf. It's like, you have to be mindful of what you're spending your money on. Is it worth it? Is it worth it right now? And is it going to be worth it for your future? Obviously, when we're talking about smaller things, it really doesn't matter, especially if you have a job right now. It doesn't really matter what line of work. If it's something small and you're just spending money on, small little things, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect you in the long run. But reckless spending, that is something that can plague you the rest of your life, especially for me. Before this year, obviously, I talked a lot about how I was very irresponsible with my money. I would buy pointless and useless things that have no benefit for me and no benefit for my future. Honestly, it's just sitting on my shelf for a couple things that I own, and obviously they don't mean anything much to me. It's just something I wanted in the heat of the moment. But when I talk about financial responsibility, I'm talking about the big purchases, the big trips you want to go on, the big financial, dedications that you have. Like, for example, I talked about when I went on spring break last year. So I went down to Florida. Obviously, anybody who's been to Fort Lauderdale knows it's not cheap, and no spring break really is. Depending on where you go, you better be prepared to spend a lot of money. That's just the reality of it. And I didn't realize how much I was going to spend in Lauderdale until I came home with negative 200, negative 300 in my bank account. And I went down to Lauderdale with well over $1,000. So obviously I should have been more prepared. I should have, there's some things that you have to really sit back and consider. What's your financial circumstances right now? How much money you're going to have going into a trip? How much do you plan on having coming back from a trip? Do you have to make rent? Do you have car insurance to pay for? A car payment? A phone bill? It doesn't matter what it is. If you have financial responsibilities that you need to uphold, there's no point in you going on vacations or anything like that. Your life and, your heat, your electric, your food, your gas, your phone, your car, it doesn't matter what it is. Those should be your top priority over having fun. And obviously, I've talked a lot about how much money I usually blow or blew through at the bars when I was more of a, big time partier and drinker. I talked about that before and how I think it's detrimental to your growth and health. Obviously, the alcohol standpoint by itself already presents its risks and really zero rewards when it comes to it. So obviously, we were all young and dumb, and I've preached this before. We were all young and dumb in our lives. We all love to go out, party, drink. It doesn't matter. Like, anybody who's ever gone to college, all of us, we all live that lifestyle. And I'm sure some people still do. I mean, it's no secret that a lot of college students still do that. And no judgment to them. But the only thing I would preach to those who are still in college and those who might be a little bit younger and senior year of high school and considering going to college, like I said before, you got to really take your studies seriously in college. I was at a 1.1 GPA and I clawed my way back to a 3.0 to graduate. So, a lot of that was because I went out and drank and partied so much. I talked about on this channel before that I went through a long period of time where it was Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night for like 6 months straight. That was beyond horrible for my grades and everything. And rightfully so, all that stuff suffered. And, it shouldn't have come as a shock to me. But it did at that moment in time because I was always a good student. Like, what am I doing wrong? I thought I was this good, hardworking student. When in reality, what is normalized in college is going out and everything. That's really what was detrimental to my studies and everything like that. So, when it comes to financial responsibility, be mindful of what you're spending your money on. Take care of your bills first. Take care of your needs rather than your wants. And obviously, something else I would consider doing is, obviously there are a lot of people who do this already because they're mindful of their situation and mindful of the future. Highly recommend getting into investing, 401ks, Roth IRAs, anything that has to do with making you money. I would seriously consider getting into. My investments have gone up no matter what. Obviously, some people want to blame politicians for the stock market fiasco, and I get it, and I felt the same way a long time, but the reality is the market has always bounced back. Even when it was low, it always bounces back. So I still invest. I still put in chunks of money whenever I can to just diversify and uphold my portfolio to the standard that I want. So like I said, financial responsibility comes in multiple ways. Be mindful of what you're spending your money on, of course. Take care of your needs right now. And then obviously start focusing on your future investments. Like, what do you want to put money towards? Do you want your money to work for you? Do you want to start businesses? You have to think about all that stuff. So financial responsibility, that's a definite, and that's something all of us need to consider is what we're spending our money on and how frequently we are. So we're going to move on to your next step to being successful in 2024 and beyond. Fitness. Simple as that. Laziness will kill you. And that's the harsh reality of it. Being lazy, not taking your body serious, your health serious, it doesn't matter what it is. The best thing that you could possibly be doing that's so in a disciplined and consistent manner is go to the gym and watching what you eat and, what you're putting inside your body. For the longest time, I've always been a gym goer, avid gym goer. I don't care what was going on in my life. I talked about my depression for 5 years. Even in that time span, it did not matter what was happening in my life. I always made sure that I was at the gym at minimum 5 days a week at a certain time till a certain time. It doesn't matter. Obviously, I had my issues, and you can't really overcome everything just by being lazy and expecting everything to happen without putting in any of the work. So obviously, I had major things to handle when I was going through all those anxious and depressing times over the past 5 years. But no matter what, I still made it a priority for me to go to the gym consistently, stay healthy. Because at the end of the day, your laziness will kill you. Your poor eating habits, your poor drinking habits, your poor work ethic, anything like that, that'll hinder you in the long run. And there's no excuse for being lazy, honestly. We all have lazy days. Like, trust me, I still have my lazy days. But if you're going to continue to bitch and moan about maybe you don't look the way you want, or maybe you're not eating the way you want, anything related to fitness whatsoever, you cannot bitch if you are not putting in the effort. You have no room to complain if you're not going out and taking strides to better yourself in the fitness aspect. It doesn't matter what you're going for. It could be if you just want to lose weight. It could be if you want to build muscle. It could be if you're a power lifter, a bodybuilder. It doesn't matter. Every walk of life in the gym has the same discipline and consistency to their goal. That's the reality of it. And if you want to achieve that, guess what? You're not going to achieve that by sitting your ass on the couch. Sorry. That's the truth. That's the harsh reality. But that's one thing that I have never really struggled with, because it was one of the few things keeping me sane over that 5-year span. But in the long run, it still helps you out greatly, because, it's always better to be in shape than out of shape. That's just basic health and human biology. So definitely, fitness should be a top priority for anyone. I don't care who it is. Take care of your body, take care of your health, and just constantly grind. That never stops. That's one thing I will continue to do. It didn't matter if I was still in high school. It didn't matter going through college. It didn't matter going through depression. It doesn't matter about what lies ahead in my future. I will always take that seriously. I will always take health and fitness seriously and stay disciplined and consistent in the gym. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, I can say that I keep my body healthy. I try to be as healthy as I can be. I still make bad decisions when it comes to eating and drinking. We all do. But at the same time, I will always keep pursuing my fitness goals. That's never going to change. And that's something in 2024 and throughout your entire life. That's something that you should prioritize, is your health and fitness and constantly working out. That's just the reality of it. Laziness will kill you. Contentment will kill you if it's not used for the right reasons. We all have lazy days. It's okay to have lazy days. I've been there plenty of times, and it won't be the last time I have any of those. It happens. But don't be consistently lazy. It's good to take a rest day every now and then, a mental rewind day, but don't stay there too long, because the second you stop going to the gym consistently, it is beyond hard to get back into that groove. I know from experience. There was a time when went on vacation in 2021. There was a 4-month period where I didn't go to the gym. 1, because laziness, and 2, worked a lot, and didn't want to buy a gym membership until I went back to school. So obviously, that was all completely on me. It was horrible. I felt like complete crap when I first started back up in the gym. So ever since that, I knew for a fact I would always stay disciplined and consistent when it came to my health and fitness. And I know for a fact that that's something that a lot of you should do as well. All right. So number 3, what are we going to learn now? Well, here's what I suggest for 2024 and beyond. What I suggest is learn new skills. Now, that's a very, very vague term. Give me 1 second, guys. So obviously, learning new skills, that's a vague statement. Very vague. However, and of course, I don't have the notebook. So what do I mean by learning new skills? I don't care if it has to do with your given field that you want to be in. I don't care if it just has to deal with, money. It doesn't matter. Learn new valuable skills that you can implement into your life. And here's the best example I could give. So I've always been, especially in the past year, I've been a proponent of really getting your finances in order and learning just how money works. So I taught, because let's be real, let's be frank, money and how it works is not really taught in high schools or in colleges. That's just the truth, and I think it's unfortunate. Money should be taken very seriously. Obviously, if money wasn't a thing, we'd all be rich, but unfortunately, that's just not the case, especially in this day and age. So one thing that I have basically taught myself is how money works. So the three types of income, I taught myself that. I'm teaching myself really anything and everything that has to do with money and currency and income and investing and, passive income ideas. You name it, I probably have researched a little bit about it. And I obviously was going to show it a little bit, but I have a whole notebook that I've been working on for the better part of a year, just listening to financial gurus, financial moguls, influencers that have to deal with currency and income and everything like that, like Robert Kiyosaki, even though people don't like him, Andrew Tate. Hate the man, love the man, doesn't matter. He knows how to make money, that's for sure. So I've listened to a couple things about that. His good friend, Justin Waller, who I watch quite often, his content. I mean, all of these guys have great insight on how to make money. So why wouldn't you invest time in learning, what they did to make that money? If financial independency, if financial, freedom is one of your ultimate goals, we have the internet, we have YouTube. That's basically free college for everyone. If you want to learn something about that, that's not even really sometimes taught in schools or universities or anything like that, sit on YouTube for at least an hour of your time a day. Learn something new. It doesn't matter if it's investment banking or just investing in general. It doesn't matter. It could be real estate. It doesn't matter. Take the time to learn new skills on YouTube. You have the whole internet at your disposal. That's what I've done for the better part of a year. Now, it's your job to implement it eventually. I know for a fact I've implemented a couple things when it comes to saving money versus spending money, investing. Like, I've used a couple of the skills that I've learned over the better part of a year to, further, basically, I educated myself on some of these practices, and I've implemented them into my life. And as a result, I'm doing a lot better financially, and I'm a lot more financially responsible than what I was for the better part of forever. So when I say learn new skills, obviously there are different skills for everything, even lifting videos. If you really wanted to, learn the nitty gritty, if you're a new goer to the gym, the it's free. The internet is vast. YouTube is at your disposal. There's so much information online. Now, obviously, be careful with what you trust online, but obviously, you have the entire internet to use, and it's at your disposal whenever you please. And you can learn a lot just by sitting down for 1 hour of your day. Just pick a topic. It could be anything. Like for me, investment banking, crypto, like literally anything you can think about, just finance, anything, accounting, just sit in front of a laptop for an hour a day and just take notes. That's all I did for the better part of a year. Every now and then, when I had the free time, obviously I was in school, I didn't have that much free time, but whenever I could, I would sit in front of my laptop, and I did this for over a year, and I just learned. I just sat there and learned, because why would I not listen to the people who have done the work, who have put in the work, and who are putting the information out there on YouTube and all across the internet for free for everyone to access? So why wouldn't you take advantage of that? The internet is wide open for everyone to use in this world. Obviously, you have to use it to your advantage. You have to know what you look for, but at the same time, that's what I did for the better part of a year. I learned new valuable skills when it comes to finances and money and how it works and how I can set myself up for the best possible financial future for myself and maybe for my even future family one day. Who knows? But either way, just carve an hour out of your day. An hour's not that long. An hour flies by pretty quick. So just pick one topic, one skill that you want to learn, and you can implement that into your daily life. Do it for a year. Do it for 6 months. Do it for a month. Every single day, 1 hour. Just take the time out of your day to do something like that. Obviously, I haven't done it an hour a day, 365 days a year. I haven't done that. But whenever I had time, I would invest my time into learning something new that I can implement for my future. There's no downside to it. You have the whole internet at your disposal to use. So learning new valuable skills that can help you, especially when it comes to your financial future, especially since money in general and how currency works and everything like that is not really taught at universities or in schools. So that would be a good thing to learn. And I think that's something you should implement in 2024 and really throughout the rest of your life. We are creatures of habit. We are constantly learning, growing, evolving. It doesn't matter what it is, what we are learning. We are designed to learn more. Don't put limitations on yourself for the here and now. Invest in more time learning. You're never going to be done learning. That's the reality of life. You are constantly learning. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be relationships. It could be finances. It could be nursing. It doesn't matter what it is. You are constantly learning to grow into a better person. So that's the reality of it. And it could be emotional skills too. It could be like meditation skills. It doesn't matter what it is, especially if you are dealing with anxiety or depression. Sit in front of the laptop and listen to the stories of how other people have went through anything in their life, how they overcame it. What steps did they take to overcome all this? I know I have a great story for it. And obviously, I've basically explained it over 10 episodes when it came to my channel. And that's the whole backbone of my channel, is why I started it in the first place. So people have a reference to look at, like, hey, this is where this kid was 5 years ago, and this is where he is now. That's the reality of it. I want this to be a guide for people. I want this whole channel to be a guide for people to realize that, yeah, you can go through the trials of life. You can go through all the depression and anxiety in the world. You will come out on the other side. There's light at the end of the tunnel because you put in the work and you work within the time that's given for you to work on yourself. That's just the reality of it. I sat around for a long time just hoping stuff would get fixed by itself. It wasn't. That's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting stuff to change without putting in any effort, that's insanity. And I wasn't going to go through that anymore in my life than I already have. And I put myself in that position. A lot of us have to realize the mental aspect. A lot of us put ourselves there. Now, outlier situations, I understand. And I've had plenty of outlier situations when it comes to, it could be relatives passing away, like anything like that, losing a job, losing a spouse. Like, that stuff I understand. That's understandable when it comes to, I've been in that dark place before, so I have ways to talk about that because I've experienced some things in my life where it was outlier sources and by my own doing. So by my own thought process and everything. So when it comes to learning new skills, obviously it kept my mind occupied, but at the same time, you are never done learning. When it comes to your life and your betterment, you are never going to be done learning. You will be learning stuff every single day. You will learn something new throughout the rest of your life. That's the reality of the situation. And I've learned a great deal over the past couple years, especially within the last year after overcoming so much in my life. And I know for a fact that everyone else could do it as long as you're willing to put in the work. Everybody, you have to be willing to put in the work. You owe it to yourself to at least try to overcome anything that's thrown your way in life. And you will overcome it. But you still owe it to yourself to, pick yourself up when life knocks you down. Life knocks you down 100, stand up another 100. It doesn't matter. When life knocks you down, that's when you get back up and just admit, frankly, what's going on in your life, put things into perspective, and that's when you move forward. That's when you can move forward. The second you can look at yourself in the mirror and admit to yourself that you have a problem or you have issues that you need to address and work on, that's when you realize that you're ready. You're ready to take steps forward to healing yourself. The best way to solve a problem is first admitting there is one. So, for a long time, I lied to myself. I was okay. Yeah, put it off. Yeah, that didn't get me nowhere. That's why I think it's valuable to learn new skills. It doesn't matter if it's skills to help better your financial future or skills to help you overcome depression and anxiety. You are constantly learning every single day of your life. And learning new skills, regardless if it's financial or emotional or anything, whatever it has to do with in your life, throughout 2024, you're going to be learning. So, learning and implementation. Learn, implement. Learn, implement. Obviously, if they're healthy practices. That's what you should do in 2024 and throughout the rest of your life. So we're going to move on to something else. Try and fail. Try and fail. Simple concept, right? Well, like I said before, for a long time, I struggled with contentment in the sense of, just being complacent in my life. I didn't want to do anything new. Nothing excited me. Nothing piqued my interest for me to just continue living forward with a sense of purpose. That's why I started this channel. It felt great to do something new. Obviously, I was nervous at first. When it came to life in general, I thought it was a complete failure. But I realized how much alike I am with probably millions of people on this planet. We've all been there. We've all wanted to do something. We've all wanted to try new things. But that's the biggest issue within our generation, is that everyone is so scared to fail. Nobody is willing to take chances anymore because they're just so scared to be a failure or be considered a failure by anyone that's close to them or even by themselves, by their own standards. That's the one thing that this generation needs to overcome and needs to overcome soon, is being so scared to try something new. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you want to start a business. I don't care if you want to go into the medical field. I don't care if you want to be the owner of your own accounting firm. I don't care what it is. And I don't care if you want to start your own clothing brand. It could be your own, Twitch streamer, YouTuber, influencer status. It doesn't matter what you want to do in your life. Try, and if it fails, try again. Because the more you try and the more you fail, the more you learn. That goes back to learning new skills. The more you put yourself through something, odds are you're going to get good at it. And the more things you try, the more likely something's going to go your way and something's going to succeed. And then you realize to yourself, oh, yeah, I could do this as a full-time thing, or I could do this to better my future. But don't expect anything to happen by itself. You have to go out and try. That means, I'm in a little bit of a phase of, it's post-graduation and it's hard to find a job. And I thought I was the only one experiencing this. No, there's probably thousands upon thousands of students in America and millions probably across the world that, obviously my main goal in life is to have my own business. I've talked about that many times, but for right now, obviously there's no shame in working the 9 to 5. I spit on the whole notion of you can't work a 9 to 5. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, guess what? I've still made money, good money, working a part-time job and obviously the 9 to 5 job aspect, I don't think it's all that bad. Like, there's no shame in it. You're doing something with your life. You're not being a lazy bum. But the basic principle is you need to try something new in order to learn something new. And you have to fail at, the more you fail at something, the better you're going to get at something. That's the reality of it. I have failed miserably when it comes to school, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to anything in life. The past 5 years I've talked about, I have failed in my eyes so many times. But in reality, that was building me into a better person. It doesn't matter how many times you fail, as long as you just don't give up. Failure is part of the process. Failure is necessary. Because if you go through life without failure or stresses that pop up in your life, you're not going to have thick skin when you're older. You're not going to be ready for the world. It's going to hit you like a sack of bricks and you're going to come tumbling down. You know, that's why I'm not really ashamed to admit of what I went through. And I'm not really, I wish I didn't have to go through it, but in reality, looking back on everything, it built me into the person I am today. And I'm proud of the person I am becoming. I obviously want to strive for more. I don't think I'm not done learning when it comes to this lifestyle or anything like that. I'm not going to be done learning until my maker calls me home one day. That's the reality of it. Doesn't matter what it is. Try and fail. Try and fail. Failure is the best teacher in this entire world. It really is. And you're going to learn a lot from failure. There's a lot of takeaways from it. And I have failed miserably in so many aspects of my life. But in reality, it was a blessing in disguise because it's building me up into a better person. So anyone who is afraid of failure, don't be. Because that's just how you grow as a person. That's just how you learn new skills. That's just how you learn to grow and evolve. That's the way it works. Failure is the best teacher. So don't be afraid to try something new. In 2024, try something new. Step out of your comfort zone. Do something unprecedented. Do something crazy. Think of something that you can find joy in, that you want to pursue. Just go out and try it. You are never going to know if something succeeds unless you try. And if it fails, okay, admit it frankly, try something new. Or try it again in a different way. Doesn't matter how it goes. Failure is going to be your biggest teacher. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned from failure. But they're all blessings in disguise. Failure is not the end. Giving up is the end. Don't give up. Keep trying something new. Okay. So there's 2 more things I really want to talk about. We're going to talk about, when it comes to 2024 and the remainder of your life, leave the past in the past. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the situation myself where I was too worried about what other people think and too worried about what I've done in my past wrong or anything like that. I have been in that situation and in that doghouse for so long, I didn't even know what living in the moment was like anymore. The more you live your life in the rear view mirror, you're going to miss what's in front of you. That's just the reality of it. Leave stuff that happened in the past. Obviously, we don't ever forget the past. We know all the struggles we've been through. We remember all the heartbreaks we've been through, the hardships, the struggles. It doesn't matter. But use them as learning tools. We all gaze in the past from time to time. I happen to find myself doing that still quite frequently. But I don't do it to dwell on the past. I do it to, look for it for inspiration, look for it for motivation, and look to it for lessons. What did I learn from that situation? Doesn't matter what it was. Heartbreak, family issues, schooling issues, life issues. It doesn't matter. I look to the past now as a teacher in a way. I learn from my mistakes. I learn from the past. Doesn't matter what situation it is. You live and you learn. That's the age-old saying. We live and we learn, and that's just the reality of what you have to do in 2024 and the rest of your life. Stop worrying about past heartbreaks. Stop worrying about past situations. Stop bringing the old crap that has consumed you your whole life into your new life that you want to, portray, and the new life that you want to live. Leave the past in the past. It's back there for the reason. There's no reason you should be bringing, and this can stem for relationships, for businesses, for jobs. It doesn't matter. Don't bring past heartbreaks into new relationships. Don't bring past work drama into the new workplace. Don't bring past drama from friendships, from family, into new and current situations. What good does that do? Don't bring the past into the future. Just look to the past for inspiration and for lessons learned from all those issues that happened. That's the reality of it. There's no reason to be bringing past issues into new situations, into new opportunities. Do you just want to hinder yourself even more? Obviously, I know it's easier said than done. I've been there. Like I said, 5 years of it. I always look to the past. No matter what, I was living in the past. But you can't live there forever. But you can look back on it for lessons learned. And that's the reality when it comes to dealing with the past. It's tough. I know it's tough. I've been there. It's one of the hardest things to overcome is just thinking about what could I have done? What should I have done? This, that, and the other. The more you think about the past, the more you're going to keep drawing conclusions that don't even exist anymore. You're going to draw up scenarios that what could have happened, what should have happened. It doesn't matter what happened because it's in the past and you can't change it. Time moves forward, doesn't go backwards. So leave the past in the past. There's no reason to be bringing past traumas, past stresses from past issues and past situations into the new and improved life that you're trying to live. Leave the past in the past. That's all that's needed to be said. Look back on it for inspiration, look back on it for lessons learned, but don't live back there because you're going to miss out what's in front of you. Living life in the rearview mirror will never get you anywhere. You got to live life through the windshield, looking forward. That's the reality of it. So do that in 2024 and through the rest of your life. So one last thing I want to talk about when it comes to what should be prioritized in 2024. And this is something that has meant a lot to me, especially lately, especially over the past year. And this is something I'm going to try to continue to strive and grow, for the rest of my life. And that's faith. Now, I know it's a hot topic. Faith has always been a hot topic. It doesn't matter what religion you support. It doesn't matter. But if you are, and I don't judge anyone who maybe doesn't place their faith in God or doesn't place their faith in a higher power. So that's fine. I don't judge those people. But if you are religious, it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you have any sense of faithfulness in your life, I would highly encourage you to lean into it a little bit more. Give it more of a chance. Strive for betterment within your own religion. Ever since I started going to church again, thanks to my buddy Matt, Liv, Jake, Samantha, you guys are still great. I never thought in a million years that I would join a Bible study with friends. That's just something I never thought I would be doing. But it's something I've come to love. And I never thought I would be the avid churchgoer that I am currently. But I am. But that was something that I talked about a lot was missing from my life. Faith. My renewed faith in Christ, has been glorious for me. It has moved mountains for me when it comes to how I, live my life. Obviously, I was born a sinner, and I am still a sinner. There is no possible way I can live up to God's holy expectations. I try to, but I fail every day. But that's another life lesson that I learned is that, I constantly fail, but I will also, take inspiration from that and okay, look at yourself in the mirror then and try to do better. Try to do better and try to do better. That's just something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And it's something I didn't realize I was missing in my life. But it feels good now that, I take that seriously. Obviously, in a way, it's hypocritical because I know I could do better. I know I could read my Bible more. I know I can go to church more. I know that I can, I know I can live my life in a better manner, me being a Christian now. So, you know, that's still something that weighs on my shoulders a little bit because I'm constantly conflicted about, stuff that should I do in my life. You know, it's just something to think about. But I will say it has given me more comfort in my life and is basically the biggest reason I was finally able to overcome everything that was going on in my life is because I believe that God has put me through the ringer for a reason. I believe that all these trials and tribulations, God is testing me throughout my life. And I feel like God will always be testing me throughout my life and my faith in Him. The faith that He has big plans for me and my future. I believe that 100%. I believe that He has great and glorious plans for me. And I'm trying to follow that to the best I can. Obviously, I still have to go through trials and tribulations, like all of it. I will constantly be tested in my life. So, and I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I don't care what struggles are presented my way. I will always strive and endure them because I know for a fact that just based off evidence from myself, it's like I've overcame so much because now I'm shown that I can overcome everything because I've started being more faithful and started trusting God and leaning into His plan. It's, I go through life, not necessarily eager, but, open-minded when it comes to everything that happens. Doesn't matter what situation I'm thrown in, I will try to handle it to the best of my knowledge. But I know I'm well equipped to deal with any struggles or trials that are thrown my way in the future because of that. So one thing I would tell people is, if you are faithful, lean into it because it'll be one of the best decisions that you make in your entire life. Take it serious and, you'll reap the benefits of it. Honestly, you'll wake up in a better mood every day like I have for the past better part of a year. It's just something that has always weighed on my mind. And that was something that I needed in my life. So, those are a lot of things that, I like to take serious in my life. Those are things in 2024 that I feel like are important to consider. So obviously, there's a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out right now. Obviously, I'm trying to figure out, where I'm going to work, where I'm going to live, what I'm going to be doing in the first place. But, I look to a lot of, financial moguls to see like what kind of inspiration they can, offer me or anything like that. And there's two videos I wanted to play that one's a short by Justin Waller, great man, very bright. And then there was another one by Jordan Peterson. So I'm going to play both of them in order. Well, not in order, but I'm going to play both of them, and then I'll talk a little bit about, the message I got from it.
Somebody I went to high school with has been texting a buddy of mine that I went to school with thinking that, hey, Justin found the cheat code. I think I'm going to start a metal building company. Bro, I hope with every ounce of me he starts a metal building company. I hope he tries to hang fucking steel. Especially like if he made it public that he's hanging steel, because he's going to find out real fast. This ride, cowboy, is fucking rough. You think I found the cheat code? Yeah, after a fucking decade of getting punched in the face, maybe, yeah. And people have to understand that regardless of what you do, your business is going to be hard. A lot of times it's going to take a lot of pain and a lot of pressure over time to make diamonds.
And that's a 100% true statement right there.
Guys, I upgraded to my newest trimmer from
What the hell? So everything that Justin said in that is 100%. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about trying something new. And, if you want to start a business, it doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be tough. Life in general is going to be tough. That's a great lesson to be learned from. It doesn't matter what, yes, we see all these rich people, like, quote unquote, they found the cheat code of life for winning, successful, businessmen and everything. Well, a lot of people don't realize is that where they came from. People expect to start something and then immediately be successful. That's not how it works. I started a podcast a year ago. Obviously, I'm growing something. I'm trying to grow a brand. I would be naive and stupid if I thought it was going to happen overnight. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't matter what profession you're in. You have to take it serious and you have to take it in steps. There is no way in hell that it's ever going to happen in the snap of a finger. That's just not how it works whatsoever. So that's one thing that I really took away from that is that, yeah, you can start. It doesn't matter like what you start in your life, because you can start something new and great in your life, but don't expect it to happen and be successful overnight. You have to be prepared to put in the work for it. And here's another, I'll play about a minute of this, and it's Jordan Peterson, a Canadian psychologist, bright man for sure. Some of his videos and some of the stuff that he's said over the past couple years has definitely stuck with me, and I'm going to play a little bit of it.
You can actually implement is to try to figure out some way that tomorrow you can conduct your life in a slightly more honest and useful manner than you manage today. Like there's a bit of, I wrote about that in 12 Rules for Life. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. I mean, there's all sorts of dimensions along which you could improve. And hypothetically, that would be useful. It's a good resolution to figure out small steps forward that you would actually implement and be pleased that you can make that kind of incremental improvement. It's also extremely useful to know that even though the steps forward.
So, just a lot of this stuff really, it just sticks with me. Especially when he said, like, don't compare yourself to, who you were yesterday. Like, obviously, you want to do better than what you were yesterday. But don't compare yourself to other people of how they are today because, one, you don't know their entire life story. You don't know what sort of hell they had to crawl through to get the lifestyle that they wanted. So there are plenty of people who will be always doing better than you, but there will always be people doing worse than you. So it could always be better. Yes, that's what a lot of people focus on. But not enough people focus on life could definitely be worse. There are far worse scenarios that you could be placed in when it comes to living your life and what you want to achieve in life. So social comparisons, doesn't matter if you want to be, the best doctor or neurosurgeon on planet Earth, or it doesn't matter if you want to be the most successful businessman in the world doing, a car company like Tesla. It doesn't matter if you want to be like Elon Musk, if you want to be like, the fictional character Dr. Gregory House, like if you want to be the absolute best in the industry that you've chose, be prepared to go through hardships, but don't compare yourself to others where they are in life because some are ahead of you, yes. Some are behind you still. But don't compare situations because you don't know their full story. You don't know what they had to go through in their life to get to that point. You don't know what steps they took to better themselves in the aspect of their field that they chose to go into. You have no right to interject your own current circumstances on other people's circumstances because not everyone has the same path. Not everyone has been through the same, life struggles or anything like that. You don't know what steps that person did to get ahead, and you don't know what circumstances have done to hold someone else back compared to your situation right here and right now. It doesn't matter. The social comparison aspect is one that I really hate, and that's something that I have tried to limit myself of doing over the past couple years because we are not all on the same path and we are not the same person. All of us have something to look forward to in this life. But the problem is you can't keep comparing yourself to other people and expecting yourself to be okay. You just add more weight onto your shoulders that you got to overcome. It does nothing for you. So don't compare yourself to others. Stay true in your current situation and just keep moving forward. Keep bettering yourself. It doesn't matter what field you're in. Keep bettering yourself. So on my social media platforms, and this is what we're going to wrap up with today. On my social media platforms, and I'll only talk about a few of these, I asked people to give me a goal they had for 2024, that they want to achieve or an obstacle to overcome in 2024 that they want to, overcome. So I'll just talk about a few of the responses. So one goal is to not overthink everything that comes my way and accept it for what it is. See, that's something that I struggled with for a while. For a long time, I was like that. But the whole aspect is everything happens for a reason in life. Take it for what it is. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. I don't care what situation you're put in, though. Take it in stride. Accept it for what it is, because that's the truth. That's the way it is currently. And it doesn't matter if it's a lesson or a blessing in your life. Don't overthink the entire situation and just take it for what it is at that moment in time and just run with it. I don't care what scenario it is. When you're put into a certain situation, run with it. Go with it. Even if you're struggling, like with something. It could be a struggle like me. Like when I was personally struggling in my life, I still went with it because I knew I was being taught something. There was a lesson in there somewhere. Through all the struggles and trials that I've been through in my life, there was always a lesson to be learned. So don't overthink anything that happens. Because honestly, overthinking, that's another killer for anyone. Don't overthink situations. Just take it for what it is and take it in stride, because at the end of the day, there's a lesson or a blessing in any of those given situations. Work out every day. Here's another one. Work out every day, get back in shape. That's one of the most simple things out there, but it's very effective because I think that's, what everyone needs to do. I think you should work out every day. Even on rest days, it should be an active rest day. Go on walks, go on a run. It doesn't matter what it is. Do something. Work out every day. Get in shape. That's the answer in of itself. Take fitness seriously. That's one of the things I talked about earlier, is take fitness seriously. It's important that you take your health and your fitness very seriously. Stay disciplined and consistent and keep doing that. Launch an LLC. Man, I feel the same exact way. I know who put this. I feel the exact same way. And that's when I talked about my business aspirations. So I'll make this announcement now. I am currently in the works of starting my own clothing brand. I don't know when it'll be up and running yet because I still have a couple things to tweak and design and everything, but I feel the same way, man. But that also goes back to trying something new. I don't care what it is. Try something new. Launch an LLC. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about what other people think. You do you. It's your life. Make it how you want it. How do I deal with anxiety about the future? See, I have worried about my future for years, and that's the one last thing I'm trying to get over, because the future is just so uncertain in so many aspects. There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the life we live, but I've learned to be content in the person I'm growing and the person I'm becoming. So I'm really taking things in stride. I don't let the future, and sometimes, obviously I said before, I do worry about the future a little bit, but at the same time, I take things for what they are right now, whatever given circumstances and situations I'm in currently. I run with it and see what lesson or blessing comes out of it, and then I adjust my life accordingly. So obviously, I don't worry too much about the past. I don't try to worry too much about the future. I focus on the here and now, but if I do focus on the future, it's usually for, future plans and endeavors I may want to achieve or, have set in place. At least financially. That's how I feel about that. But the best way to deal with anxiety is to focus on the here and now. Who are you? What person you are here and now. Don't focus on the past you. Don't focus on the future you. Focus on the steps you're taking to becoming the person you want to be. That's the best advice I can give for that. And that's going to wrap it up this week on The Lake Show, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave some comments down below. I'm your host, Dominic Lako. God bless.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time